Let's speak to Michael Walker, editor at Novara Media. Are you concerned by this sacking, Michael?
Yes. I mean, I think it's an overreaction from Keir Starmer. I think, as you described at the beginning, all Rebecca Long-Bailey did was tweet an article about an actor in a mainstream newspaper, which did contain an inaccurate statement. It doesn't seem that there is any evidence that the Israeli police forces trained American police how to kill someone with a knee on their neck. I presume that's not particularly complicated. You probably don't need to collude with other governments to learn how to do that. But it's one sentence in an article. I'm not actually convinced it counts as an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, really. And I think the significance of getting rid of Rebecca Long-Bailey is quite large, because when Keir Starmer ran for the leadership, when he was trying to appeal to Labour Party members, his big promise was that he would unite the party and take the best of the party from all wings. So he was saying, we're not going to completely forget Corbynism, because whilst it was flawed and it lost an election, it also brought back to the Labour Party some important principles that, one, many people in this country value, so more equality, taxing the rich, a return of certain industries to national ownership, but two, when Labour has tried to completely sideline the left, it hasn't gone so well. So in 2015, we had 30% of the vote. In 2017, we had 40% of the vote. So there was obviously something there that the Labour Party needs to retain. That was Keir Starmer's promise. And by sacking the most high-profile left-winger in the shadow cabinet on quite flimsy ground, I think there are many people, myself included, who are worried that this is a sign of things to come.
But he is aware of how much the charge of anti-Semitism cost Jeremy Corbyn, and he knows that it needs to be sorted, isn't he?
Well, there's a problem here, which is if you treat anti-racism as a PR exercise, you can actually make the problem worse. So one of the reasons why the anti-Semitism row within the Labour Party became so divisive and so confusing, actually, to most people, is because it was often used in a political way. So people would make allegations about their political opponents that what they'd said was anti-Semitism. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't. But because it seemed so wrapped up in different motives, it became very hard for members of the party and members of the public to work out, what was really going on here. And I think the fact that yesterday we saw, newspaper journalists sort of report that potentially the real underlying story here is that Keir Starmer wasn't so happy about Rebecca Long-Bailey's dealing with the education issue when it came to coronavirus and being too close to the unions. I think once again that's going to confuse the matter, because people are going to think, well, she's been sacked for supposedly sharing an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, but it doesn't, it seems like a bit of an overreaction. And is he really doing it for other reasons? And I think for us to deal sensibly and rationally with issues of incredibly important issues of racism and anti-racism, we need to completely separate these different issues: factionalism, political disagreements, and racism.
Thank you very much, Michael Walker at Novara Media.